Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the 2018 State of the City Address. My name is Cameron Jackson, and I'm your MC for today. Just a little bit about me. I attend Muncie Central High School. I was a member of the basketball team this season where I played junior varsity and varsity basketball. I'm also a member of our wind ensemble where I play the tenor saxophone. And I'm your Boys and Girls Club Youth of the Year also. Before we continue, please join me in thanking Roger McConnell and the America's Hometown Band for the great music. The band will have its 30th anniversary concert on this Sunday at 4 p.m. at the Emmons Auditorium with free admission. Also, while the music was playing, you were able to view the work for Shoot for Good Muncie on the screen and on the walls and stuff over here. This is the name of the event the Ball States Chapter of National Press Photographers Association produced. And they were recently named the Student Chapter of the Year. Shoot for Good Muncie took pictures for 24 hours on Saturday, April 14th, and created a photojournalism documentary celebrating volunteerism, community, and positive human connections in Muncie on that day. You can see more of their work by going to shootforgoodmuncie.com. Let's thank them for contributing to our community for their positive images. We are live streaming today's program, so feel free to tell your friends to tune in to Muncie's Facebook page or tweet their pictures, and tweet your pictures with your friends and colleagues and stuff like that. Next on our program, I would like to invite Miss Allie Woodcraft to come forward as we all stand for the invocation. Please remain standing for the posting of the colors by Muncie Central High School Marine Corps, JROTC, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance, led by Chadwick Holliday and Lucas Tyler.
Would you bow your heads with me, please? Heavenly Father, we give you praise and thanks for this another day. We thank you for your love and grace and watching over not only each one of us, but Lord, this great community and this great country that we live in. We give you praise for watching over this city and this state. You so graciously bless your people and you bless your children. And I pray now as we gather here this morning to hear the state of the city, that you would bless the leaders of this great community. Lord, may your wisdom and guidance, and may you give them an understanding heart to do what you would have them to do. Not only here in the city of Muncie, but Lord, in the state of Indiana and in our country. Bless our leaders, lead and guide, and Lord, we give you praise for this food we've had to enjoy this morning. I just ask your richest blessing upon each one of us as we gather here today, and may you lead and guide this, not only each one of us, but this community. For we ask it in the name of Jesus. Amen.
Set. Go.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Order. Go. Courier Gary. Goes. Left turn. March. Over.
You all may be seated. Our next presenter is the current president and CEO of United Way, Delaware County. Please join me in welcoming Mrs. Marsh to the stage to introduce the baby.
Good morning. I have to tell you all about a fantastic book. It's called How Dear to My Heart, and it's written by Emily Kimbrough. It is the tale of an idyllic childhood in a small town, Muncie, Indiana, at the turn of the 20th century. The book opens with Emily's early childhood recollections of her grandfather, C.M. Kimbrough, and the purchase of Muncie's first automobile. In fact, Mr. Kimbrough would later drive that automobile into Mr. Topp's butcher shop just a few blocks from here at the corner of Main and Walnut. Throughout the book, readers can romp through Emily's memories of growing up in East Central neighborhood, of visiting friends in what is now known as the Old West End, and of being tutored and educated along with the Ball family children in those beautiful homes along Minnetrista Boulevard. The Muncie of this book is very different from the Muncie of today. At first, I really marveled imagining what must it have been like living in a city that is so thriving economically, is really growing and booming. And I grew up here in the 70s when the factories were really at peak production. And I remember those days, and our economy is very, very different. In fact, the Muncie of today, 56% of households live in poverty or are working really hard and struggling to get by and are one crisis away from sliding into it. And while that's a very different Muncie from the 1900s, in one critical way, the Muncie of the 1900s is very much the same as the Muncie of 2018. In this book, the Muncie citizens care for each other. They look out for their neighbors. There's just this spirit of let's all get this fixed together, let's all do things together. And I see that all around me in 2018. In fact, Emily's Uncle Lloyd Kimbrough was the first campaign chair of the organization that would become United Way of Delaware County. And in 1925, he and his committee set a goal to raise $77,000 to help people with health and human service needs. And collectively, the community gave $86,000 in 1925. In 2017, third-generation campaign chair Casey Stanley and his committee set a goal to raise $1.2 million for United Way's work. And thanks to nearly 4,000 community donors, dozens of local businesses, and our local foundations, we exceeded that goal and raised over $1.4 million. People gave because they wanted to change the trajectory of our community. They gave to help break the cycle of generational poverty through United Way's literacy-focused efforts for greater educational outcomes for our children, to put them on a pathway out of poverty. People gave so our neighbors, our city, our county can thrive. The people of our community are generous like that. United Way is just one organization. There are lots of nonprofits and community initiatives like By Five and Muncie Action Plan, our hospital, Ivy Tech, Ball State University, our community foundation. Any one of them could stand up here and testify to the caring spirit of the amazing people of our community. Like those who lived in Muncie in this book back in 1900, today's Muncie citizens recognize what it takes to make our community stronger. And we fully understand that we are so much better when we unite in an effort, that we'll achieve so much more when we roll up our sleeves and we get to work together. Nonprofits, local business leaders, and government working together, we can achieve so much more. And the City of Muncie understands, supports, and partners fully in these efforts. Here to report on what has been accomplished in our great city is a man who really needs no introduction. He is a lifelong believer in the spirit of Muncie, our mayor, Dennis Tyler.
Muncie, Indiana is a place where compassion, commitment, community, and collaboration are seen as our overarching strengths. Located in the east central part of the state, Muncie became the center for both glass and steel manufacturing when the five Ball brothers came to the city from New York, establishing a company that would become a household name. Following the famous Middletown studies conducted in the 1920s and 1930s by sociologists Robert and Helen Lind, and additional significant studies in 2003, Muncie has emerged as one of the most studied communities in the world. Still today, researchers have given Muncie extra recognition as America's hometown. Muncie is a city on the move, and we are moving forward. Whether you live here, work here, or visit for business or pleasure, Muncie prides itself in having everything you need in close proximity for a memorable and enjoyable experience. We are a proud yet humble community who has found a new voice, and it is proudly sharing its important role in East Central Indiana. As Muncie Mayor Dennis Tyler said, most people outside of our community don't understand what a positive community we have and how well we work together to make great things happen. What makes Muncie so special? It's the people who believe in our community. They're here every day with their hands open, wanting to volunteer, wanting to do whatever it takes to make our community a better place to live, work, play, and raise a family. Muncie would not be moving forward today if it wasn't for the great people in this community. We have imagined the possibilities, manifested the results together, and it has made us better. As Ball State University President Jeffrey Mearns says, we are better together. In every community, there's a noticeable correlation between the quality of life and the commitment of its people. The Muncie community has been positively impacted by the enhancement and the growth of its neighborhoods and neighborhood associations. Through the efforts of Ball State's Building Better Neighborhoods initiative, Muncie's citizens are taking the lead in every corner of this great city, planting trees, building pocket parks, reducing crime, and partnering with city officials to foster relationships and enhance the quality of place. Muncie's downtown is vibrant and the fastest growing area in our city, offering residents and visitors a taste of historic Muncie with something for everyone. We realize that an active and vibrant downtown is an indicator of the city's financial health and cooperative spirit. After many years of planning, the dedication and cooperation of government, business, and financial entities, the renovation of downtown Muncie became a reality. These partnerships continue to contribute to Muncie's quality of place by promoting growth and positive change in the heart of our city. Quality of life is also enriched by our outstanding public safety ratings, high-ranking educational system, and top-quality health care facilities, which makes Muncie a great place to live, work, play, and raise a family. Extended bike lanes, increased accessible sidewalks, and convenient public transit provide the community with a variety of transportation options. Nearly 7 miles of the 62-mile-long Cardinal Greenway run through Muncie and crosses the 6-mile-long White River Greenway, making Muncie an excellent place for hiking, biking, or taking a leisurely stroll. Local community gardens and the city's 28 parks provide many different opportunities for recreation, events, or simply taking a moment to admire the scenery. Muncie has great opportunities for employment as a small city with big amenities. Selected twice as the Community of the Year by the Indiana Chamber of Commerce, Muncie's economic outlook is bright. Technology, healthcare, small business development, and other innovative practices continue to move our community forward. The Economic Development Program of Muncie Delaware County Chamber of Commerce's Vision 2021 is a critical component of the city's economic development and strategic planning. This is all consistent with the Central City's strategic visioning and the framework for our vision of a forward-moving community, which includes expanding and retaining businesses, attracting new businesses, celebrating a positive community image, promoting workforce education, developing community planning and preparedness, supporting early childhood education, and maintaining a strong partnership with Muncie Community Schools. Our community plays a growing role in developing new technology initiatives within the information technology IT industry, from IT management and consulting to software development. Muncie is home to various IT businesses which give back to the community and have a clear focus on building a strong information technology workforce. Our city is filled with lifelong learners. Early childhood education is championed by organizations throughout our community. Our school system has a graduation rate above the state average. Vocational, technical, and higher education opportunities draw learners to our community. Museums and cultural sites encourage learning and exploring by all ages, with various programs, events, and exhibits. Individuals and organizations connect learners, young and old, to the arts. This is a time of renewal and revitalization for the Muncie community, a time to reflect and to consider this positive transformation and set goals for the upcoming years. So, how is Muncie moving forward? With its people. We are resilient and innovative and have a sincere pride for our community. We are moving forward with places. Businesses and community development are contributing to the quality of place by investing in our places, by renovating buildings, improving roads and sidewalks, and making places more accessible. We are moving forward with our partnerships. Nonprofit organizations, government, institutions, and businesses from many sectors are stepping up and working together to help Muncie grow and thrive. We have imagined the possibilities when we all work together. We are Muncie, and we are a proud community that is better together.
every now and then you'll see grown men standing around and they'll see something and they'll say they got a little sand in their eye or something, creating a little tear. But that wasn't my problem a little while ago. If you was watching me taking some pictures, that was the mayor being a grandpa, because those were my two grandsons. Now when they're done, they'll be doing the same as Cameron and the Muncie Central Choir that you will hear in a little bit. They'll be heading back to a great Muncie community school system. And they're a product of Muncie Community Schools, and I'm so proud of them for that. But thank you all for being here today. I appreciate it. This is the 2018 State of the City Address. I'd particularly like to reach out and thank Roger Overbey, Cheryl Waters, Terry Wood Bailey, and Margot Deaver for all their hard work on today's program and putting it together along with all my department heads. That was so important. And I'd also like to thank the Convention Center staff that always does an amazing job putting together programs that go on here at the Convention Center. Joanne McKinney and her staff. Thank you so much for everything, Joanne. My good friend Jenny Marsh with United Way. Jenny, United Way has been such a great partner over the years with the city of Muncie, and we appreciate it. When we was a part of your Day of Caring, had the opportunity to be at the concert that evening in downtown Muncie, and I knew what President Burns and I were going to do, and Arlen speak. I kind of thought Casey Stanley was going to dance. He was so excited with the turnout and how well the day had went. But when you hear that they raised $1.4 million, ladies and gentlemen, it tells you how Muncie cares about each other and the people that we serve and care about. Cameron, our young man, was the MC. Thank you so much. And the lady that stands right here to the right of me that I sometimes will make her job very difficult, Sandra Gooding, who is our interpreter today. I'd like to also thank all of you that are in attendance today. Thank you for caring about Muncie and wanting to hear how Muncie is moving forward. And I think when you leave here today, you'll hear and you'll believe that we have a very good story to tell about ourselves. I'd like to thank the city council members that are here today. If you would please all stand and be recognized for your service to our community. Thank you so much. I believe I saw Sherry Reagan, a county commissioner, here. Thank you for being here, Sherry. State Senator Tim Lannon. Jorge Ortiz, representative for Senator Joe Donnelly's office. And Jorge, stand up. Team to stand too. Jorge is also a service military, so thank you for your service to our country. I'd like all of my department heads to please stand and be recognized, please. They're the ones that do the grit work every day for all of you, and I appreciate so much. And I have two of my family members here today, my grandsons, CJ and Lucas. My wife, yesterday was her birthday. Today she's sick in bed. Now she didn't do anything last night to make her sick in bed. She did. She's not feeling well. And lastly, I'd like to take a moment of personal privilege. There's two very special people in my life that are here today that have been so important, I believe, in the history of Muncie and Delaware County in very special ways. We just recently celebrated Black History Month, the Martin Luther King Dream Team, and everything that they do for our community. We have a great holiday in the state of Indiana recognizing Dr. Martin Luther King. But that holiday is only here because of Muncie, Indiana, and Muncie and Delaware County, ladies and gentlemen. And that's two of the former leaders that we had here that had the courage to carry that through the Indiana General Assembly. And that was former State Representative Hurley Goodall and former and inclusion in our great community, and we do. As the video said, we are moving forward as a community with our people, our places, our partnerships, and our future possibilities. I'd like to remind you that I only have this room till noon, but I promise I'm going to try to have you out of here by no later than 8:45. But I'd like to highlight some of the activities that I believe that you're all interested in wanting to know about. Some are challenging, but most are very positive and show that Muncie is moving in the direction that they need to be moving in today. I asked the City Council to stand to be recognized earlier. We have a great City Council that works hard and understands the value of compromise. They do it at every City Council meeting, or every department head meeting, or every board meeting that they're a part of. Our department heads and city employees are second to none. Everyone is working together to get things done to move Muncie forward. What I'd like to ask each and every one of you every day to consider the struggles of the president of the City Council, Doug Marshall, the other councilors, but respect them for what they do and give them the support that they need to move this great community forward. Excuse me. I'll start with other people. The Muncie Police Department. Last year, the Muncie Police Department responded to 53,720 police dispatch calls. Approximately 85% of the dispatch calls report incidents, one way or the other, involving substance abuse. We all know that Muncie is no different than any other city in the state of Indiana and across the country today, ladies and gentlemen. The drug crisis is off the charts. The opioid crisis is the same. It's a challenge, and it's a challenge that we have to accept as a community. Community leaders, healthcare professionals, holistic leaders, all have to come together to begin to address this crisis. A community can't fix it by themselves, and as a community, I mean the government leaders cannot fix it by themselves. We have to have support. We can't arrest our way out of the issue either. A lot of people like to think that you can. Let's build more prisons, let's build more jails. We can arrest our way out of this crisis. That will not get us out of the crisis. We have to have a community that wants to understand the struggle and how we begin to fix it in a number of different ways. We have a great community drug task force that's looking at ideas and issues. We know we have programs that are beginning to be developed throughout the community that are dealing with some of these crises. Big Barbell is one. Groups, Brianna's Hope, and others are coming together to try and begin to address the crisis. I've had a number of meetings with Jim McClellan. He's the Governor Holcomb's drug czar. Jim gets it. Jim understands the problem, understands the issues. Again, the challenge is we have to figure out ways we can address it together. We have to find the resources. It's easy to find a building. We can find buildings all day long to deal with an issue like this. The challenge is finding the other resources that we have to put into the building. But I believe we will. We always find ways to get things accomplished, and we will. Somehow or another, we'll get it done. One of the things that we have done as a city to take on the challenge, we know that there's a sincere opioid crisis. So we went in a partnership with law firms to sue the drug opioid manufacturers and distributors. We know that there's things that they could have and should have done better. We believe that we have the opportunity to make some significant differences, not just here, but across the state of Indiana and across the country, if the opioid manufacturers and distributors begin to do what they need to do to help us relieve this epidemic. Excuse me. In 2017, our drug task force cases were up by 11%. 46% more search warrants were issued through the drug task force. Through their effort, deaths from drug overdoses were down by 90%. We now have a police fleet that has a 5-year plan for police cars transition to CNG, which is compressed natural gas. We are working to improve the equipment and technology that our police officers and law enforcement and public safety officers need every day to go out and protect the community as the best they can. We have the best technology, thanks to the Muncie Redevelopment Commission, for body cameras for our public safety officers. That has audio and video, and they're a great resource not just for our police officers, but for the community sometimes to see what actually did happen in a case. Recently, Chief Winkle and the Police and Merit Commission appointed 5 new officers. One of those is a minority woman. What I'd like to have, so at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to see both of our public safety departments mirror more what the vision of our community is. Have more color and more diversity included in it. But I can tell you we can't do that on our own. We need the help of the community to encourage people to want to become public safety officers. And when you do that, I believe that you can encourage them that it really is a good job, and it's an honor to serve your community. And when you do serve your community, the work that you get out of it, it's a decent income, but more importantly, it's a great way to serve your community. Something I think I need to touch on now that is so important. When we took office in January of 2012, and what we're seeing in 2018, I think we would all agree that society is changing. I don't think we would have ever dreamed in January of 2012 we'd have a Sandy Hook. I don't believe in 2018 we would have ever thought we'd have had a Parkland. Then when you see everything in between, we know that society is changing. I don't have the answers why, but I know what we need to do, and we need to protect our citizens. That's what we try to do every day with our police department and our fire department, to protect our citizens. In partnership with the City Council, one of the things I never ever thought that I would need to do in January of 2012, that we know we need to do today, we need to protect our government offices in this community as people come in there to do the daily business. At the same time, we need to be able to protect the employees that are there. So we're starting that process. We will begin to secure later this year the City Hall auditorium for any programs in the City Council business, Sanitary District business, Board of Works business, or whatever is going on there to better protect the citizens as they come in there. We will, as we study City Hall and some of the issues that we have with the City Hall, because it is so old, hopefully we can begin to do the same with the rest of the building. We also have an emergency action plan in place for Muncie Community Schools, that God forbid if we would ever need it, that our public safety officers here in the city know exactly where to respond to, where we're to transition people to as we set up the triages to begin to deal with everything that you have to do in those emergencies. The Muncie Fire Department in 2017 had 7,892 fire runs. Out of the 7,892 fire runs, 5,370 medical first responder runs were also involved in them in 2017. We have warming centers at the fire stations and City Hall during extremely cold weather when we need them. We do a partnership with Kay Walker with the Center Township Trustee's Office, Susie Kemp with Bridges, and Teresa Clemens at A Better Way, and it's a great program that we utilize and it works very well. Excuse me. I'll touch on one thing briefly, very briefly. You've read a lot of articles in the paper regarding issues between the city and the county with 911 services and the potential for emergency ambulance services in the city of Muncie. And what I'll simply say at this time is that what is happening and occurring today is not fair to the taxpayers of the city of Muncie. And I'm elected to represent the citizens of the city of Muncie. And I'm doing that to the best of my ability. But what is happening and what is occurring today is not fair to the taxpayers in the city of Muncie. And all we've ever attempted to do for 4 years is reach some sort of equitable compromise that we can continue to provide the services together that we need to. And hopefully we'll get there. For the police and fire department, ladies and gentlemen, we are continuing to expand our hiring standards for both departments. We have put new rules into the Police and Fire Merit Commission to give us the opportunity to increase minority hires. We have added policies in place for Muncie citizens and Muncie citizens that are veterans to have extra points through the hiring policy. It's beginning to work. It takes time, but it's beginning to work. And I like the idea of having our Muncie police officers and our Muncie firefighters live within our community. I think it makes good sense. The Muncie Animal Care and Services, this is a program that all of us should be extremely proud of. Something you don't like to hear about a lot, but it's extremely important. But Phil Peckinpah and his staff last year sheltered 4,577 animals. We now have a 99.9% save rate. What's so important about that, ladies and gentlemen, is when we took office, it was below 20%. In 2017, the Muncie City Council adopted the Companion Animal Protection Act, which is the strongest animal protection act in the country. As a result, we received the Henry Berg Achievement Award for the safest place for a homeless pet in the United States of America. Now, I can tell you, Phil is also always struggling with resources, so any volunteers or supplies, he'll take them on a daily basis. Right, Phil?
Yes.
Yes. People, festivals, fundraisers, friends. We can't talk enough about the people in Muncie, ladies and gentlemen. You heard what Jenny said earlier. Muncie has been a caring, giving community from the day that we became a city. And it hasn't changed. It still is. I could stand up here for 2 hours and talk about the different programs and the festivals and the fundraisers that we have, that we do together, that show what a caring, giving community we are. However, I got a lot more to talk about. But here are a few of the highlights. American Cancer Society Relay for Life, Pies for Peace, the Muncie Bike Fest, Muncie's Missions Walk a Mile in My Shoes, the Great United Way Day of Action, Prayer Fest, Sing Over Muncie, White River Cleanup, the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Walk of Fame. If you haven't had a chance to see that, ladies and gentlemen, visit Heaton Park next to the Vietnam War Memorial and see the Walk of Fame. You can get some exercise doing it too. The Muncie Black Expo, Meridian, Rialzo, the Ironman at Prairie Creek, and the Three Trails Music Series. There are many, many more programs, far too many for me to mention. But if I didn't mention it, don't think that we don't care about it, because we do. Places, downtown. Downtown is the central core of our city, in the area with the highest concentration of place-based assets that support Muncie's economy and quality of life and quality of place. Downtown brought 11 new businesses into the city in 2017 alone. Over the past 6 years, they brought in 63 net new businesses in the past 4 years, since the launch of the branding campaign, representing over 200 jobs. Commercial occupancy in the downtown is 84%. Residential occupancy is 99%. We know that we have a shortage of occupancy in the downtown. We have a number of different programs that we're looking at and working with our many partners within our community and outside our community to bring new opportunities for residential occupancy into the downtown and our surrounding neighborhoods. The Marriott Courtyard, the new hotel downtown. I'm sure many of you remember 2012, people said we didn't need a hotel. There wasn't any reason for a hotel. Well, the increased business at the convention center is from the opening of the hotel in 2015, Joanne and her staff had 318 event days. In 2017, 365 event days. Revenue in 2015 was $1 million. 2017 is $1.4 million. And I can tell you from being a representative on the Delaware Advancement Committee Board that it's growing. 2018 will be even a better year. The hotel last year had 36,000 plus rooms rented at a 67% occupancy, added $300,000 in new property tax to Muncie, and they provide approximately 45 permanent jobs. And here's one of the other things, ladies and gentlemen, that is so important about that, and I love to brag about it, and I do it every year. Since the Erskine Green Training Center was opened, they have now had 7 graduating classes. The state of Indiana has an 82% unemployment disability rate. 82% unemployment disability rate. Out of those graduating classes for the Disability Institute, they have a 74% employment rate. That's a 156% turnaround, ladies and gentlemen. Now that is a success story for Muncie, Indiana, in partnership with the Army and Courtyard Marriott. And most of those young men and women today are becoming, where they are independent and they can go into independent living. It was unheard of and unthought of before this program started. And there will be some very good news coming out in the not too distant future on some other great, great opportunities that are coming. Places, neighborhoods, and neighborhood associations. I don't think that I can sit and talk about anything that's more important to our community than our neighborhoods and our neighborhood associations. With the number of neighborhood associations that we had in 2012 compared to where we're at today is amazing. It is because of the people in this community that want to make a difference in their neighborhoods. We have 54 neighborhoods in the city of Muncie. We have 30 active neighborhood associations. And I believe, and I couldn't go back and find the information, but I believe I'm right, and somebody from the Muncie Action Plan can probably tell me I'm right. I believe that we only had 7 neighborhood associations in 2012. So with the hard work of the Muncie Action Plan, the Building Better Neighborhoods at Ball State University, the city, and others, we are now up to 30 active neighborhood associations. And I can tell you they're active. They have neighborhood cleanups. They have neighborhood meetings every month. They invite our department heads. They'll invite other community leaders to come in and talk about what they can do together to make their community a better place. You see them taking old track fields, like the Blaine Neighborhood Association. I went to Blaine. I don't know if any of the others did, but I went to Blaine. I ran track on that track. It was nothing until the Blaine Neighborhood Association took it over again. We now have playground equipment in there, and the track is useful again for exercise. You see that throughout the city. We now have 11 recognized pocket parks. We have 14 active community gardens. I'd like to see those 11 recognized pocket parks up to about 111. Excuse me, if you remember when many of us were kids, every neighborhood had a pocket park or a community garden somewhere. And it's the same way with the 14 active community gardens. When I was a kid, darn near every neighborhood had a garden in it someplace, and they all shared with each other. The Land Bank Commission will be a key component moving forward with all of these different programs. The pocket parks, the community gardens, the action plans, and hopefully we'll be able to coordinate them all under one tent and one umbrella, and it will help. The Whiteley Community Council last year was awarded 2 national awards through the Conference of Neighborhoods USA, and I believe somebody told me the other day that they're a nominee again for this year, which is so important. Excuse me, I hope I'm not coming down with what my wife's got. Wow. Places, Arts and Cultural Center. You see the beautiful Minnetrista. We just recently signed a memorandum of understanding with the Muncie Arts and Culture Council. I believe Betty Brewer is here with Minnetrista. I believe it's the first one in the history of Muncie that we've ever done it in a way for a public-private partnership with somebody that can help us move forward public art in a proper way within our community. The memorandum of agreement, I believe, will be very important as we move forward with different projects. One of the projects that they're going to be doing, you drive through the city of Muncie, almost every intersection where you see a traffic signal, you look over on the corner and there's an ugly black box. It's either silver or it's the ugliest black you've ever seen in your life. They've got a great idea. Let's turn them into pieces of art and let the neighborhood and then do something with it, and they'll coordinate it and they'll manage it and they'll oversee it. But we begin again to turn them into beautiful public works of art. You know, the more public art that we can have in our community, I think the better it is for everybody. It gives neighborhoods an opportunity to have some pride in the neighborhood in ways that maybe they hadn't had a few years ago. And the other thing that I know that Betty and her staff is very, very proud of is the recent $50,000 grant from the National Endowment of the Arts to create the Artist Residency Program. That is at 619 East Main Street at the old house there right across from the Cintas building, and then the spaces that they'll be utilizing in the Mad Jacks building. That is a very important program, and it's giving us a great way to expand art within our community. Excuse me. Prairie Creek Reservoir. You've heard me talking about this since 2012, ladies and gentlemen. And this is such an important part of our community, and it's still amazing to me how many people don't recognize that we have such a beautiful body of water. That is a Muncie park. Prairie Creek Reservoir, in a partnership with Indiana American Water, is a public park. It's the second largest body of water in a public park in the United States of America. And we should be so proud of it. And I think what we should all be so proud of is in 2012, we had a bathhouse we had to condemn. We had a beach area that actually wasn't safe. It wasn't safe for people to even utilize. Today, we have and you can see it on the screen, the bathhouse that you're looking at there, with partnerships with Ball Brothers Foundation, Community Foundation, George and Francis Ball Foundation, and many others, is a 100% ADA accessible bathhouse that's open 24 hours a day, that also has, if you have the opportunity to go out there and look at it, getting down to the water is access points for wheelchair accessibility and people with disabilities, which makes it a very, very special part of our community. The thing you see there with the orange handles on it that looks strange, what that is that will be available this year is that will allow people with disabilities that are hampered by wheelchairs have the opportunity to get in that and go into the water and swim right next to their brother, their sister, a family member, or a friend, and not have to worry about that being any kind of danger. Now that, to me, is something very special and something that we should all be proud of. The Ironman competition hosted at Prairie Creek won the 2017 Competitor's Choice Award as the #1 overall course, both because of the challenge of the course and the friendliness of the people here in the city of Muncie and the amenities that we have to offer. And if you've never had the opportunity to go out there, you need to. There's 5,000 people out there that day. I know a lot of you in there ride bikes like I do. Just go out there and look at them bikes. I'm serious. They estimated they had $20 million in bicycles out there. We had to have police security out there to watch. But it's amazing, and you see people of all ages from all over the United States and all over the world, and they're coming to Muncie. And then to be voted, and I forget how many of these there are throughout the United States, but to be voted the #1 by the competitors is pretty important. And something for all the fishermen in the room, DNR just ranked Prairie Creek Reservoir as the #1 walleye lake in the state of Indiana. I don't know about most of you, but I got a street department superintendent that's a heck of a fisherman. I can't fish, but man, I can eat it. Walleye is awfully good. And we have bank fishing permits at Westside Park. We now have new playground equipment at Westside Park. That was one of the parks that was omitted as they was going through a recreational upgrade a number of years ago. And we now have new playground equipment at Westside Park. Our Parks Department summer programs last year served over 1,000 kids. And again, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to remind you that in 2012, we had no parks in our program. In our programs, we had no, in our parks, we had no programs for our kids. The way that we was able to overcome some of the challenges was a very great lady by the name of Myrna Robertson. Her friends at Conway Not-for-Profit out in the Whiteley community took on the challenge of us to begin to put together some programs in our parks. The first year we ended up with around 500 kids. Last year we had over 1,000. We do a hot meals after school with some of the parks programs with Bob Ball and his Inside Out group. That is just amazing in what they do. And it really seems to be working. And what we do that I believe is so important as a community, if the family cannot afford for that child to participate in whatever that parks program is, they get it. They get it at no charge to the family. And that helps a lot. This year at Toohey Park, opening on Memorial Day 2018, and you can see it on the screen, we will have a new ADA park portion there. And what you see is wheelchair disability children having swing access that they never had here before. And they also have monkey bar access that they never had here before. We thought it made sense to start it at Toohey Park because it's in the heart of the city, next to a beautiful public pool, and see how well received it is. And if it's as well received as I think it's going to be, I will be coming to the City Council asking them to fund additional recreational equipment throughout the city for people with disabilities to have better access into our parks. And I think it's the right thing to do. This next slide, ladies and gentlemen, you can throw darts at it if you want to. I know it's a busy slide, but we do have maps around the room over on the back side here on easels. And what it shows you is the streets that have been paved since 2012 and the streets that are on the list for 2012, from 2017 and 2018 to be repaired. For the 2017 and 18 plan, we have another 35 sidewalk projects to complete, which will have us up to constructing and repairing over 136 sidewalks. Please keep in mind that not all of these are just sidewalk repairs. Many of them are new sidewalks in areas. You'll see a new sidewalk over on McGalliard that will begin to connect Chick-fil-A and other areas, businesses over in that area, to the Cardinal Greenway. They never had a way to get off the Greenway to get to them before. We've been researching an idea for actually a number of months that we think might give the city of Muncie a great opportunity through the Board of Works, the Redevelopment Commission, and the Muncie City Council to begin to do a partnership with a new sidewalk programs throughout our community in a way that we can do a partnership with the neighborhood associations and the property owners that makes much more sense to me and to our attorneys than what the Barrett Law does. And we believe that we can do that and do it in a way that we can get volunteer through the property owners, that they will want to improve their property with better sidewalks and ways that we can accommodate them to do that. As soon as the attorneys have that to where they believe that it would work well for the city of Muncie, we'll be moving forward with that, and we're hoping that we can move forward with that by the end of the year. If not, have it in place for next year. We believe it will give us a great opportunity to get sidewalks up to place and up to speed for ADA issues and handicap accessibility issues. We recently took on a program that we've been in discussion with for about 3 months now with AEP to expand and install more streetlights throughout the city. The plan is that within the next year, an additional 100 streetlights and more, if we can get everything put together with them the way that we're hoping we can. We can do it in a partnership with the neighborhoods and the street department. We'll have brighter lights and a good long-term investment in the safety of our streets at night. It will be a coordination between the city's engineers and AEP's engineers in a way that we can better put the streetlights where we need them. We know that there's certain neighborhoods that are extremely low with lighting. The McKinley neighborhood is just an example directly across from Muncie Central. High School is one that is extremely, extremely short with streetlights. We know that if we get this done, that the studies show that more streetlights and brighter lights at night reduces crime in neighborhoods. Now here's something I know that you have been waiting to hear about. You want to talk about potholes. I didn't hit a single one on the way in. I was very careful. I think if you watch TV and you pay attention to what's going on in Muncie or across the state of Indiana, ladies and gentlemen, every community is struggling with it. Every community is struggling with it this year because of the intense climate change that we've had to deal with. And it's devastating to our infrastructure. And I've said it every year since 2012. Our infrastructure disrepair and disintegration is the best argument that I know of for climate change discussion. I can't think of anything that's more devastating to our infrastructure than the climate change that we're dealing with today. Here's some figures, though, that are important for what our street department is doing. While we're here having breakfast and enjoying ourselves with the state of the city, we have every crew available out patching and working on our streets. The total number of hours spent patching potholes since January 1st, 2018 is 625 total hours, using 448 tons of mix since January 1st. We lost a total of 18 working days for patching due to rain and snow. The number of rain days that we could not patch is 7 days. The number of snow days we could not patch is 11 days. The number of days with cold mix to date is 45. The number of days with hot mix to date is 19. The first day of the hot mix was made available to us was March 15th of 2018. I simply mention that, ladies and gentlemen, because the difficulty with cold patch compared to hot mix it's amazing. Cold patch, because of the extreme change in temperature, it may only last for 24 hours, 48 hours, 72 hours, as the temperatures is changing. The hot mix, when we can finally get it, beginning in March 15, it adheres to the patch much better and has a much better longevity. Excuse me. We have on schedule, as you can see, the red lines that you see on your screen are the streets and roads that are to be repaired and finished up this year. Here's some of the things that I think that are important. Since 2012, we have rebuilt 179 lane miles in the city of Muncie. We've also rebuilt 672 alleys, and I don't believe that alleys were ever a part of any previous administrations. But it's important for those alleys to be graded and graded properly, and it's something that we can do. Sections of the main thoroughfares included in the $770,000 community crossings grant that are scheduled to be finalized this year is Riggin Road, White River Boulevard, West Jackson Street, 29th Street, Hackley, and Riverside. I don't have to tell you how important those 6 thoroughfares are to the city of Muncie. Excuse me. The portion of Riverside that we may not do anything with is the portion of Riverside right along where Ball State University is constructing their fabulous new health and science building. But part of the partnership with Ball State University with the City Council and the Board of Works granting variances in different areas around that, they will be helping us to rebuild some of the infrastructure around that building. So whenever that's done, we'll finish up with Riverside. We also recently received a $750,000 federal highway grant to replace regulatory signs such as stop signs. All of that is in place and most of that is finished. In addition, we have spent over $200,000 to replace missing and damaged street signs throughout the city of Muncie. And I can tell you, again, when you're talking about tourism, and we have some numbers on it here in a little bit, one of the biggest concerns that we hear from people coming into our community is how do you get from A to B to C, because we don't have the direction of signs that we need. And we've understood that, and we're working on it as best we can. The way that you can tell if we've been in your neighborhood is not by us knocking on your door, but look at the street sign. If the street sign has a capital first letter, and then everything else is in a lowercase of some sort, then you know we've been in your neighborhood replacing the street signs. If we haven't, if it is still a capital first letter, then you know we're on our way there, and we'll get to it. And we're working on it as best we can and as quickly as we can. Public places for safety improvements. You see the picture of the underpass. You see a picture that you would have saw last year with the flooding and the issues that we had there. That was a very important investment for me as mayor, for the city of Muncie and the Muncie Sanitary District. Because that was always an area that seemed to divide our community for a number of different reasons. And one was the flooding. And the flooding was extremely serious for us and dangerous for us, ladies and gentlemen, because when it flooded, our emergency responders had no way to get north and south. It made it very difficult and very time-consuming for them to deal with the emergencies that they had to have. And many times in extreme weather, whatever type of extreme weather it is, many times our emergency responders in the city of Muncie, they may respond to 100, 150 calls in a matter of a few hours. A good example, November 5th, 2017, the day of the tornado. The only tornado in the history of the city of Muncie, Indiana, that had to hit the field house. Now, I know that Muncie Community Schools is working on it, and whatever we can do to assist them in that, we're willing to do that. But I bring that up simply because at the underpass, from 3:15 p.m. to 7:22 p.m. that evening, in 4 hours, there was 1.4 million gallons of water that went through that pumping station there. That kept the underpass from flooding, so our emergency responders could get back and forth across town the best they could. And it made a difference. It made a difference. So the tank that you see up there is a 750,000 gallon tank. There's 2 sets of pumps that work to transform that water and move it, and it worked very well. It continues to work very well today. Our partnerships, you see on the screen, you see so many strong, positive partners in different organizations in our community, and I don't intend to try and name them individually. But you all know who you are if you're here today, and I want you to know that you're appreciated. And you mean so much to us. And I can honestly tell you, ladies and gentlemen, as I look through here, these are the reasons that I believe we're about 5 years ahead of what our goal is to move Muncie forward. Muncie Community Schools. Statewide student awards recognize the hard works of our students, including a Silver Key Award in arts and a first place Cyber Defense Award in technology, as well as recognition of excellence for Muncie Community School programs. Last night at the Muncie School Board meeting, they voted to send robotics equipment that was in storage at the Muncie Area Career Center, and I know there's school board members that are here today. I see Cat Carey, and I don't know if there's any others or not. But thank you for support of sending the advanced manufacturing training equipment to MadJax. It will give the opportunity for local students in the project Lead the Way that will be in conjunction with Purdue Polytechnic Institute that will enable us to improve our workforce training for current workers that wish to learn robotics and automation, and most importantly, ladies and gentlemen, it will begin to offer Muncie Community School students and other school students in the Delaware County area the opportunity. There's about 12 to 13 different engineering certificates that they'll be able to, in 2-year training programs that they can use, that they can move on when they go into college. What we know is that we have employers in the city of Muncie and Delaware County that are utilizing these programs outside of Delaware County, and then they're hiring people outside of Delaware County. So it's important for us to give our kids the same opportunity, our employers' employees the same opportunity, and our employers' potential future employees the same opportunity. As we move forward, we will continue to enthusiastically seek partnerships with Muncie Community Schools to assist them in building issues, and we understand the importance of our students, teachers, and administration having environmentally sound and safe facilities. We have an action plan, again, as I said earlier, in place for emergency responses to secure buildings and facilities. And I don't know if there's any teachers in the room today, ladies and gentlemen, Muncie Community Schools or administrators, but thank you for the challenges that you're facing and dealing with in a very upstanding way, in my opinion. It's not easy times, but I think you're taking on those challenges. I know the Emergency Management Board is, the school board. I see the teachers doing the same thing, and I see other members of the administration doing the same thing. I think sometimes what we forget, ladies and gentlemen, when we've heard a lot of discussion over the last few months about Muncie Community Schools, and if you're interested, you can see my testimony to the Senate Finance Committee. It's on the City of Muncie's website. It seems like we always forget the common denominator between our students and their success is the teachers. It always comes back to the teachers. The education programs and that are put in place by the administration and the school board are only as successful as the teachers that take those to the students. Doesn't mean they're always going to be right, but the common denominator is always the teachers. And I believe it's the teachers because the kids trust them. They understand them. They're there when they leave school, and they're there the next day when they come back to school. The teachers know what kids are going home hungry. They know what kids are coming back to school hungry. And they know how to begin to deal with it. We also know that Muncie Community Schools has a 20+% special needs rating, which also makes it extremely challenging for these teachers in the administration. But they're doing a great job, and however House Bill 1315 plays out, I think they'll continue to do a great job. And we must do a great job together as a community. Ball State University is a very, very strong partner. First and foremost, I want everybody to understand it. I know that Muncie is a university community. It's an integral part of our community. It's our largest employer, and it's one of the major economic engines for the East Central Indiana region. As our university grows in enrollment, they will prosper as we will and the region will. The importance of our Ball State community, ladies and gentlemen, which includes students, faculty, staff, and administration. Their volunteer hours as they venture out into the community with thousands of volunteer hours creates unsurpassed opportunities for the students and family in our great community. However, House Bill 1315 moves forward during the special session, The City of Muncie looks forward and is committed to a strong partnership with Ball State University to provide the greatest public school system in the state of Indiana. Ivy Tech Community College. I see Jeff Scott is here somewhere in the room. Hi, Jeff. Thank you. Ivy Tech Community College has continually been a strong partner with the City of Muncie for providing opportunities to students, training opportunities for employers to improve employment status. Their Cowan Road facilities job training opportunities to improve our current and future workforce will be outstanding. Their new campus buildings, as you can see on the screen, will transform our city skyline and bring in approximately 2,500 faculty into the downtown Muncie by 2020. Great challenge for all Muncie. We appreciate so much Jeff's leadership and Ivy Tech's leadership in partnering with the city, the Muncie Sanitary District, and other partners as we begin to create a beautiful downtown campus with an open green space for faculty, staff, and students and visitors to our great city. IU Health Ball Memorial Hospital. IU Health Ball Memorial Hospital, our second largest employer, has a new president and CEO, Dr. Jeff Berg. Jeff's a hometown boy like myself. He's a Northside High School graduate, and he's also an avid biker. If you ever see him taking out the group rides with IU Health, he almost always ends it up making them ride up the McCullough Derby Hill. Now that's a bad man. But they do it. IU Ball Memorial Hospital has received numerous awards for their quality of care and services to patients from Muncie and throughout East Central Indiana. We appreciate their partnership along with Ball State University as we were able to repave the university between Tillotson and McKinley. We recognize the importance of their partnership as part of the med-ed community as it continues to grow and create new opportunities for our community. And I can tell you, when we took office in 2012, the rising health insurance costs that we were all dealing with in the city of Muncie for our employees was escalating at a way that it was unsustainable. Working with IU Health and other partners, we were able to create a free clinic for our employees. We were able to create a free prescription drug program for many generic drugs. We were able to create a health and wellness program for our employees that's working, and it's saving taxpayers hundreds of thousands of dollars every year. And that wouldn't have been possible without the partnership with IU Health Ball Memorial Hospital. United Way of Delaware County. We are so proud of our community, and just like Jenny said earlier, we are proud of how our community has stepped up to help United Way reach their goals and make an impact on areas of education, health, and financial stability. I mentioned the Day of Action program earlier, and I hope you all participate in that and other programs as they come by throughout the year. One of the things that I like to talk about that maybe you don't recognize that we've done with the United Way, maybe there isn't any reason for them to, Jenny, but Jenny and some of her staff with others came to me, I think it was a little over 3 years ago, and we were all beginning to have a concern about the potential of lead levels in our community, and we really didn't quite know how to understand them and what was real and what wasn't real, but we really and truly believed that there was an issue that needed to begin to be studied and understood. So what we agreed to do was begin to do core samples throughout the city of Muncie, testing key properties throughout the city of Muncie to see if there really were lead level issues that were beginning to be of a serious concern to us. So we took on our side of the challenge, and Jenny took on their side of the challenge with the United Way. We went out and tested the elementary schools, the community centers, senior citizen center, properties that we were pretty sure had lead-based paint in them that we were preparing to demolish throughout the city of Muncie. And we tested all of those properties. What was really ironic was all the lead levels came back below the concerned standards. So I don't know what the answer is. I think that we're going to have to continue to look for answers because we know that there's something that's just not quite right. Don't quite know how we get there, but I think we have to figure out how we do get there. Some of our other partnerships, the 812 Coalition, if you had the opportunity to attend the Habitat for Humanity breakfast last week, you saw a great presentation by the 812 Coalition. I think Jenna Ashby's here someplace in the audience. The partnership that they are bringing together in the South Central and Thomas Park Avondale neighborhood to improve the quality of life in place through the neighborhood revitalization that they're doing, ladies and gentlemen, is really amazing. If you have the opportunity to go on their website and take a look at what they're doing, and you can see on the screen, they're really revitalizing an area that the people are coming together, they're believing in the program, and what I like about it as mayor, it shows what a neighborhood association and a coalition can do when they all come together for one better goal, and that is a way to create a better quality of place and quality of life for the citizens that live there. I was very fortunate a few weeks ago to attend a mayor's forum outside of Indianapolis with Jenna and another representative, and Jenna told me her name and I've already forgotten it again, so I apologize. But the presentation that they made was the mayor's forum with the aim of Indiana wanted to understand what the 812 Coalition was all about. And there was about 42 mayors there, and Jenna and her partner made a great presentation. I just kind of followed along to tell them how important it was to the city of Muncie. But it was evident that people across the state of Indiana are looking at that program for a pilot and a potential role model for their community. Some of our other partners, the Muncie Delaware County Chamber of Commerce and their Vision 2021 program, and I know Ashley's here somewhere, and I think Jay and some other board members are. Some of the projects that they were involved in over the last year were Elm Street, Spartec, North American Stamping Group, many other local businesses. Just the last year, the total investment was $9,050,000. 79 new jobs, 43 saved jobs, which is a total of 122 jobs. The total salary for those jobs that were saved and created is $4,547,920. Since 2012, the total capital investment with the city's partnership has been over $200 million, ladies and gentlemen. Wages from new jobs have brought in over $120 million in new economy to the community. The Muncie Redevelopment Commission, in 2017, these are the following numbers: 7 projects, 5 are new, 2 are expansions. $62 million in total capital investment, 134 jobs created, $4,575,000 in added payroll. Since 2012, the new capital investment totals $192.3 million. The annual payroll is $20,387,272. The total of new and saved jobs is 649. The important part of both of those, ladies and gentlemen, in the new and the saved and its jobs, is that does not include the construction jobs that are involved in that. And that's extremely important. They are estimated to be over 400 jobs in 2017, with an estimated $2.5 million in added commerce. Now here's a really, really, really good story that you don't get to read, but I think it's important. And these are numbers from the Department of Workforce Development. These aren't Mayor Dennis Tyler's numbers. These aren't the City Council's numbers. These aren't the Chamber's numbers. These aren't anybody else's numbers. These come from the Department of Workforce Development. In 2018, there was 1,005 more people employed than this time last year, meaning a net reduction of 626 people unemployed. It continues to get better. 3,951 more people are employed today in Muncie than they were in January of 2012. Let me say that again. 3,951 more people employed today in the city of Muncie than in January of 2012. That number has reduced the net reduction of unemployed from January of 2012 to February of 2018 by 3,044 less unemployed people, which takes the unemployment rate from January of 2012 at 10.2% down to February of 2018 to 4.9%. The average wage information from 2016, and that's the latest that we can get from the Department of Workforce Development. If you take only the median wage, ladies and gentlemen, of $15.20 an hour, just the median wage, those 3,951 new jobs equates to $120+ million of new wages in the city of Muncie created since 2012. Which means that our economic development partners, again, Muncie Redevelopment Commission, Delaware County Chamber of Commerce, Delaware Advancement Corporation, and many others, for 2012 to 2018, we had $392 million worth of total private capital investment in the city of Muncie, which tells me that Muncie is moving in the right direction. I would argue today that our cup is more than half full. The Muncie's Visitors Bureau, which is a key integral part of bringing tourism and visitors into our community. You heard what I was mentioning about the Courtyard Marriott downtown and the increases in convention center business. Leisure and professional visitors to Muncie and Delaware County continue to rise with the numbers that are provided by the Muncie Visitors Bureau. Over $740,000 in innkeeper's tax, resulting from more than 640,000 overnight guests, which is a 4.1 increase in 2016, and according to Jim Mansfield, the executive director, it's continuing to move forward. Possibilities, the Kisselman Trailhead and the Kisselman Pure Energy Park. The Kisselman Trailhead, ladies and gentlemen, is an eastern city gateway that's comprised of 3 projects with about 14 different partners. The Kisselman Trailhead is currently estimated to cost $12 million. This does not include the cost of the Indiana Department of Transportation bridge. The Trailhead project includes Phase 1, which will be the relocation of the historic Albany Bridge, which was designed and manufactured in Muncie and the Indiana Bridge Company. The Indiana Bridge Company is one of the longest, most continuous businesses in Delaware County. Meeks and Kirk's Bike Shop are contemporaries to Indiana Bridge. The original Indiana Bridge Company plans for the Albany Bridge are found in the Ball State University Bracken Library archives. The old plans are vital in the relocation design of the bridge from Albany to Muncie. Phase 1 of the Kisselman Trailhead project will be completed this year. You can see the pictures on the screen, ladies and gentlemen, and that's a fantastic project for that corridor. East Jackson Street is the second busiest corridor into and out of Muncie within the city of Muncie. Housing development, possibilities. The new Silver Birch Apartments out on Kilgore that just recently opened just a few weeks ago. That's a $22 million investment in our community, bringing quality, affordable housing to seniors and others that may be on Medicare. 35 new jobs. The rehab of the old Muncie Trade School building into apartments with historic preservation tax credits. And man, I can tell you, when I was going to trade school, I would have never ever dreamed that that would become apartments someday. But it's turning an old building, an historical building, into something that would be very spatial and very cool on that end of town. Muncie Housing Authority recently just put together some new housing and affordable housing over next to Millennium Place that is really pretty cool and pretty spatial. We know, when we talk about housing, ladies and gentlemen, that we know that we still have housing issues. We know that we have residential housing that's available. What we do know also is that we do not have new quality residential housing. We spent over 3 years meeting with Ball State University's leaders, IU Health leaders, major employers, different community foundation leaders, to discuss what we can do as a community to begin to encourage new hires to want to live in our community. We knew that there was challenges, that it was as important as understanding IU Health was having the challenge of even bringing in nurses, because we didn't have the type of housing that the nurses and their families were looking for. We have studied it, and we have studied it, and we have studied it to death. And people can always agree to disagree, but when I have my largest employers, my largest foundations, my largest educational institutions tell me, Mayor, and my realtors, that we need quality housing, new housing for people that have to make choices, then we need to do something about it, and we intend to do that. The next generation holds the keys to the new possibilities. Terry Miles is here today. He is a 4th grader at Longfellow Elementary. Terry, would you come up, please? As you see on the screen as Terry is coming up, you see a book. Oh, Terry, how you buddy? Come on over here. I first met Terry 3 years ago, I believe it was, wasn't it? Something like that. Terry sent me a letter. Terry had heard gunshots in his neighborhood. And he sent me a letter wanting to know how we might be able to do something to eliminate that. So we invited Terry and his class to come to my office. And we had police officers there to meet with him and explain what was going on. But what ended up happening was Brittany Kane with Terry Miles wrote this fabulous book about the shot heard around the town. A story about how one boy could change the world. And it was so important, I thought, as we're talking about very special people. Just last month, during the Black History Month, we had the great honor of recognizing 2 very important people in our community for years. And I wanted to take this opportunity as the state of the city to recognize Terry for what Terry did and make you an honorary deputy mayor for the city of Muncie, buddy. Now what I'd like to do, ladies and gentlemen, in honor of Terry, I'd like to invite my 2 grandsons, Cameron, the Muncie Central Swing Choir, back up on stage, and also invite the JROTC up on stage and any and other K through 12 students that might be here today on stage. All of you. I know there's some bird students out there. Come on up. I know we got bird students over there. Can they come up? Let them come up. Come on. This is important. Lucas, get that sucker stick out of your mouth. Come over here. Get over here. That's okay. He said he's sorry about that, so that's okay. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to look at this group of young men that are up here, and women that are up here today. These are parts of our great public school system in our community. Yeah. We can always stand around and we can look at the negatives, but look at these great kids up here today. The reason we're here today, these kids are our future. They're the reason all of you are here today. You want these kids to be able to succeed. Our administration wants these kids to be able to succeed. Muncie Community Schools wants these kids to be able to succeed. But they can't do it without our help. We have to be there for them. We have to create the opportunities. We have to imagine the possibilities when we work together. And we have to be better together. When we are, these kids will be successful. When we are, our community will be successful. That's why we're here today. Thank you so much for being here today. God bless all of you. Go out and make a positive difference in our community because you can. Say yes. Do not say no. Say yes. Thank you all so much for being here today. Thank you to these students.
They can say it all sounds crazy. They can say I've lost my mind. I don't care, so call me crazy. We can live in a world that we design. 'Cause every night I lie in bed, the brightest sun is in my head. A million dreams are keeping me awake. I think of what the world could be, a vision of the one I see. A million
like to thank everyone for coming today. It's been a good day today. It's an honor to be here today, you know. But I can sit here and talk to y'all all day. I'm not. So I just want everybody to have a blessed day, and thank you for coming.